Hello there, this is 5-2, using intercepts. We got two vocab words today, y-intercept and x-intercept. And y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. It's the y-coordinate at that point. The x-coordinate there is always 0. And the x-intercept is the x-coordinate where it crosses the x-axis. And the y-coordinate is always 0. What I kind of try to think of intercept, that reminds me of the word interception, like football. So, if you drew a line from the quarterback to the receiver, when you intercept the ball, you cross that line and take the ball before it gets to the receiver. So, same thing here, the line crosses the y-axis, that's the y-intercept, and the line crosses the x-axis, that's the x-intercept. So what we're going to do today is learn how to find the x and y-intercept, and then how to use those intercepts to graph. And I think that you'll like this method of graphing a lot better than the tables. It's a lot easier and a lot shorter, which is always a good thing. So the first thing, we kind of start out simple. It'll give you a graph, and it will just ask you to find the x and y-intercepts. So all you got to do here, okay, we're going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, is look at where does it cross the line. So let's start with the x-axis. It crosses right here at -2. So the x-intercept would be -2. And then we look at the y-axis, crosses right here at 1. So the y-intercept would be 1. And as we said, the other coordinate is always 0. So we could also write this as an ordered pair, -2, 0. Or we could write this one as an ordered pair, 0, 1. Either way would be right. Because the x-intercept is technically just the x-coordinate, so it's just -2, and the y-intercept is technically just the y-coordinate, which is 1. So on a graph, when they give you a graph, you're just going to find them and write them down. Now sometimes they'll give you an equation and say, find the x and y-intercepts. Here's how we do that. To find the x-intercept, we replace the y with 0 and solve for x. And here's what that looks like. 5x minus 2 times 0 equals 10. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. So really I just have 5x equals 10. So then I'm going to divide by 5, and x equals 2. So my x-intercept is 2. And then to get the y-intercept, I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to replace x with 0 and solve for y. So I have 5 times 0 minus 2y equals 10. Well, again, 5 times 0 is just 0. So I have -2y equals 10. So then I got divide by -2 on both sides. And I figure out that y is -5. So now I've found the x and y-intercepts using the equation. Now, and what makes this useful is that we can use those intercepts to graph lines. So here in this problem it says use the intercepts to graph the line described by the equation 3x minus 7y equals 21. So first thing, I find the intercept. So let's find the x-intercept first. So I'm going to replace y with 0. 7 times 0 is just 0, so I get 3x equals 21. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. X is 7. So my x-intercept is 7. I'm going to do the same thing. Find the y-intercept. Replace x with 0. So then I get -7y equals 21. Because this is just 0. I divide by -7. So y is -3. So now I have my x and y intercepts. And then what I'm going to do is graph the line. So if I bring my graph up here, my x-intercept is 7, so I'm going to go to 7 on the x-axis and I'm going to put a point there. My y-intercept is -3, so I'm going to go to -3 on the y-axis and I'm going to put a point there. And then all I have to do is connect my 2 points with a straight line. And now I've graphed the line. Okay? Let's look at another one that's a little bit more difficult. Same directions here, but now notice that my equation is not in standard form. I don't have x and y on the same side. So when that happens, I have to put x and y on the same side first. And what I mean by that is I just need to move this x over to this side. So since it's a -x, I'm going to add it. So then I have y plus x equals 4. Now it's in standard form. So now I can find the intercepts. To find the x-intercept, I'm going to make y 0. I should say x. So 0 is gone. I just have x equals 4. That one was pretty easy. And then to get the y-intercept, I make x 0. So the 0 doesn't matter, so I just have y equals 4. So my x and y intercepts are 4. So then, once again, x-axis 4, y-axis 4, and draw a line between the two. Okay? So that's how that works, graphing with intercepts. And then of course we have to throw in story problems because the lesson just would not be complete without it. So here we have Trish can run the 200-meter dash in 25 seconds. The function f of x equals 200 minus 8x gives a distance remaining to be run after x seconds. Graph the function and find the intercepts. What does each intercept mean or represent? So here's my function. F of x equals 200 minus 8x. And it told me that x was second, so I'm going to go ahead and label my graph here. And it told me that y was the distance remaining to be run, so this is distance. So what I'm going to do here, and this is a little different than what the book teaches you, but I think it's a shorter way and it makes the most sense to me, so this is the way I'm going to teach it to you. Remember that f of x is y. So I'm going to rewrite this using y. And then just like the previous problem, I have to get x and y on the same side so that I can find the intercepts. So that gives me 8x plus y equals 200. And now I'm going to find my x and y intercepts. So let's start with the x. To replace y with 0, so that just gives me 8x equals 200. Divide by 8, so x equals 25. And then if I do the y-intercept, 8 times 0 plus, should be a plus sign, plus y equals 200. 8 times 0 is just 0, so I have y equals 200. So my x-intercept is 25, my y-intercept is 200. So I'm going to count by 5s here on my x-axis. Actually, I could spread that out a little bit more here, so let's go ahead and do that. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And I got to get up to 200 on my y-axis, so let's count by 25s. Okay, so then I'm going to plot my intercepts. My x-intercept was 25. My y-intercept was 200. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line between those 2 points, and that's my graph. Okay, so there's my graph of the story problem. Now the very last thing it says, what does each intercept represent? And it's talking about in this particular story problem. So my x-intercept is 25. What significance does that have in this problem? Well, if I look up here, it says she can run the 200-meter dash in 25 seconds. So the x-intercept represents how long it takes the girl, we'll just call her, to run 200 meters. And then the y-intercept, which is 200, is her total distance. Because if you think about it, when y is 0, okay, meaning, because y represents distance, right? So when y is 0, that means she's ran her whole race. So that's why x is 25. And when x is 0, that means she hasn't started yet. So she still has 200 meters to run. So for that part of these story problems, it just wants to know what do those numbers represent in that problem. Okay? So once again, if you have questions, let me know tomorrow. And that's it for today.